Hey guys, I am coming to you from London. Amazon invited me out for a special event, and I don't really know what's in store, but right now I just got into town here in London and doing some sightseeing. I got a little twisted around, but I think I've finally found my hotel. So I'm gonna check in. Sir, do you know where the check-in is by chance?
Yeah, I think it's actually right through those gates right there.
Oh, through the gates?
Talk
Okay.
to one of the guys in the red uniform.
Red uniform, okay. Black fuzzy hats.
Those guys will take care of you.
They look pretty serious. This is a high security hotel they've got us in here. So I was on my way to my actual hotel and came across this, which is a World War I memorial. So we're already seeing some Tolkien connections there, as it's well documented. The professor fought in World War I, a very formative aspect of his life for sure. Alright, so I made it to a Lego store, and I can't not stop at a Lego store and find some fun Legos to get, and I just so happened to find one that is very elusive to me in the United States. First flying lesson. So I'm gonna pick this up for the kiddos, as well as maybe some fun little British ones. I see a lot of British people dressed exactly like this, so that seems appropriate. So I just got to my hotel room and there is a mysterious package here. So let's find out what's in it. What do we have here? Oh, look at this. Wow. Looks like a hoodie. A Rings of Power hoodie. Nice. A Rings of Power journal. Man, that is cool. And an Instamax Mini 90 Neo Classic. Let's get this hoodie open if I can open it with one hand. Spoiler alert, I could not open it with one hand. So here we go. You get to see it open. It's like a nice moisture resistant material. Rings of Power logo. That's pretty cool. Nice gesture. A little care package for the long trip. Hey, good morning everybody. It is day 2 here in London. Yesterday was arrival day and not a whole lot going on. We had a cool reception. I got to meet a lot of Tolkien people that I've only ever conversed with online, so that's pretty cool to meet all those guys in person. This morning, our instructions were to get a hearty breakfast, which for me meant finding the tallest, biggest coffee that I could find. So now I'm just doing kind of a morning walk around a portion of London here until we catch a bus for Oxford. So I'm sure we're going to have a lot of Tolkien stuff to experience there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. See what Amazon has in store for us. So this is kind of a cool structure here. This is what is believed to be the inspiration for the Temple of Morgoth on the island of Numenor. So kind of cool. I'm sure you've probably seen illustrations before that look pretty similar to this. So yeah, kind of a cool landmark here, especially given the concentration on the Second Age that we've had a lot about recently.
Anyway, C.S. Lewis wrote afterwards in his diary, met Tolkien at this meeting, seems a nice sort of chap, just needs a lot of slapping around.
Okay, so we're here for afternoon tea. And this building, they said, this room is kind of the model for the Great Hall in the Harry Potter films. So they kind of based their set design off of this room. And the room that we were in earlier for lunch is actually the room where they filmed the hospital wing scenes from the Harry Potter films, as well as the scene in the Goblet of Fire where McGonagall teaches the Gryffindors to dance. So that's pretty cool. A little Harry Potter mixed in with our Tolkien today. So another fun tidbit about this room that we just found out is they filmed a fencing scene from the Tolkien movie. If you remember that biopic that was produced a few years ago, this is actually the room where they filmed the fencing scene. So another cool little moment. And then outside the quad, right outside these doors, is where they film the scene where they find out that World War I has broken out. So we are currently at the Lamb and Flag, which is one of the pubs that Tolkien frequented, and it's actually under renovation right now, but they made a special exemption for our group, and it's really noisy back there because that's where everybody's hanging out. But we've got some drinks here at the pub that Tolkien came to, one of them. The other being Eagle and Child we saw on our tour, and it's closed right now, unfortunately. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see another pub here. All right, so we just got out of the Lamb and Flag. Thought I'd show off the Eagle and Child back there. Like I said, it's closed at the moment, so that's kind of a bummer. But the Lamb and Flag, also the Inklings, one of their favorite watering holes, so still pretty cool to see. All right, so this is the end of day 2 here in London, and it's been pretty fast-paced so far. This is really the first time that I've had a chance to just kind of chill a bit in the hotel room. Today was, of course, the Oxford Day, and it was just really cool to see a lot of the places that I've read about when it comes to Tolkien's life. We had a tour guide at one point, got to see where Tolkien worked, where he taught, and where he spent the last years of his life after his wife died. So yeah, there's just a lot of cool history. Some interesting crossover moments with Harry Potter, actually, which was kind of cool to see some filming locations. Not exactly why we were here, but nerds are gonna nerd. Of course, I couldn't go into the bookshop without actually picking up a book. So I thought I'd share with you what I picked up. It is a facsimile of the first edition printing of The Hobbit. I absolutely love this this cover of The Hobbit. It's some of my favorite artwork by the author himself. And I was talking to some of the guys in our group, and this has been reprinted with the mistakes. So apparently 2 chapters are labeled Chapter 6, I believe. There's 2 chapters that were titled the same, and there's an error on the dust jacket, on the verbiage on the inside. There's a name misspelled. So they went full board with this and really made it just like that first edition of The Hobbit. Obviously, much cheaper than an actual first edition. Can't afford that for sure. But yeah, great little keepsake to get from the bookstore there in Oxford. And I gotta say, one of the cool things about this, I came out here because I was invited, obviously, and one of the unexpected benefits that I had kind of an inkling that this would be cool to meet some of the people that I've talked about or even live streamed with and stuff like that, done podcasts with in the Tolkien universe, to meet them in person for the first time. And it's just amazing to see the collection of people here, and it's definitely one of those unique moments. So it's definitely been special, if for no other reason than that, like the friendships that I've not only made here, but also the friendships that have deepened from being able to spend significant amount of time with some of the folks here. It's just been really cool. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I don't know 100% sure of what exactly we're going to be doing. It sounds like we might see some footage from the new show, from the Amazon series. So I'm very curious for that. We have a free morning, so I'm going to take the opportunity to visit a cool movie studio from another franchise that you will probably not be surprised that I'm also a big fan of. Good morning. It is day 3. Please forgive my voice. The restaurant was pretty loud last night, and I don't think my voice is quite recovered yet, so if it's a little hoarse, I apologize. Speaking of horses, nice transition, right? We've got some chess pieces behind us from Harry Potter. So I am going on the Harry Potter studio tour. So this is really cool. There's so much stuff here. It's crazy. All right, so we're here in Ollivander's. At the end of the tour, I had a very kind staff member who breezed me through, and I got a few cool shots, but he said that on each of these boxes is the name of everyone who was in the end credits of the films, which is really cool. And also, I was the very first person to go into the newly remodeled Privet Drive, which I probably would have got more shots if I would have known that, but the first person ever, he told me, to go through there, because I am going at such a crazy lightning fast speed right now. So I've only got about 10 minutes until my Uber shows up, and then it's on to whatever screening is in store for us. So I'm gonna change my my mindset from the wizarding world of Harry Potter, get back to the Tolkien-ness of this trip. But yeah, I think, you know, if I'm ever in London again, I'll definitely come back here so I can soak it in over the course of a few hours. So, I've just seen footage from Rings of Power. And I have some thoughts. Some I can share with you now, and some are gonna have to wait a little while. So I'm just gonna kind of give my free-flowing thoughts off the top of my head. We just got back from the screening, so there's gonna be a mess of stuff. But I just wanted to give some initial gut reactions to you guys. I saw some things that I really, really liked. I heard some things that I really, really liked. And, you know, there's still a couple things that I'm not entirely sold on. But, you know, as I've said, if you've been on the channel for any decent amount of time, you've heard me say, you know, I'm gonna wait to judge it until I see it. And that includes this. You know, I'm not gonna be you know, swayed one way or the other, honestly, by seeing some footage. I need to see the story play out. I need to see how the characters are executed over a long period of time, and how those characters develop, how storylines develop. But I will say, you know, what I saw, like I said, there were some things that really excited me. And there was some things I'm not entirely sold on, but we'll see how it goes. We got to have a Q&A with the showrunners, J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. And honestly, I think I enjoyed that even more than seeing the footage. There again, I can't go into detail about what was said or what was asked or what was answered or what was not answered during the Q&A. I'm trying to think what I can and can't say. So what I'll say is, if you've watched my videos and you've heard some of the concerns that I have, what I would consider to be my most major concerns are significantly less concerning now, after having spoken with the showrunners. So talking with the showrunners, I will say that in particular, Patrick's enthusiasm was kind of contagious. And so that gives me some confidence. I mean, that's not nothing. I will say, so like, you know, any concern that this was just a cash grab, I mean, make no mistake, like, Amazon expects to make money off of this show. Like, it's a business, and, you know, they're totally going to do that. And, but talking with the showrunners, there's an awful lot of care that's gone into this that I don't think has been portrayed very well in the marketing, honestly. Like, I think instead of some of the marketing pieces we've seen, like, I wish they would just have JD and Patrick do interviews or something, because that's essentially what they did for us. You know, we're asking them questions, they're answering, and it was much more impressive than, you know, a lot of the marketing that that we've seen, you know, from my Tolkien fan perspective. You know, if, you know, that other stuff, you know, like I've said before, you know, maybe that works for general audience or something, but for, you know, diehard Tolkien fans, I don't think that what we've seen so far has really, you know, met our appetite. But I think some longer form interviews with the showrunners would be a pretty good move at this point. Like, give us something in depth on camera where we can read their tone and their enthusiasm. That doesn't come off in just a printed article, which is all we've had so far. So there was a lot to be said for what I heard today. But here's the rub. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's the execution. You know, they've got to earn it. You know, it seems like they're well aware of what they've been entrusted with. And and they're well aware that, not everybody is on board right now, or, there's a lot of people with reservations, but just hearing the heart behind the showrunners a bit, it was nice. It was nice to really get a sense of what they're aiming to do, and importantly, what they're not aiming to do. To be honest, a lot of the fears out there, I feel like were directly addressed, and some of the biggest fears that I've had, that I won't go into detail on this video, but if you've been around my channel, some of the fears that I've had, and I think I'll have to go back through, and think through everything that was addressed, but most of them were flat out addressed, which was very interesting. So I'm gonna try to get some of the other folks here on camera, and so we can kind of share initial reactions together. So we'll see what other people think. We haven't had a whole lot of chance to converse with each other yet, so I'm curious to see what other people say. All right, we're walking to dinner. I'm with Mr. James Tauber. So James, what did you think about what we saw?
Well, first of all, the show itself looks fantastic. I think what we saw of it allayed a lot of my fears. There were a couple of things I was a little bit worried about, and then we heard from the showrunners, and I think that allayed the rest of my fears. Their passion and care impressed me.
Enthusiasm, yeah.
Yeah, they're clearly fans.
Yep.
They clearly care about the core things that we always talk about. And even some of the trickier stuff, like how time compression works when mortality is such an important thing to convey.
Right.
It was just lovely to see that they've thought through all this.
Yeah.
All this stuff we're worried about, have they considered this? Have they considered... They've thought about it.
Yeah.
Huge amount of detail.
Now, did you ever think that maybe Amazon had our buses bugged yesterday? Because I feel like a lot of...
so many of our questions...
so many of our concerns were directly addressed a little bit.
Yeah, I think...
I was like, have they been listening this whole time?
Well, I think they must be listening to the community and what we're saying on social media about this stuff. But to be honest, I think they care about the same issues themselves. And that's,
it seemed that way.
And just, practically...
We're going to get hit. That is the second time I've looked the wrong direction because they drive on the other side of the road. All right, so Alan and Sean, hosts of the Prancing Pony podcast. What did you guys think of what we saw today?
Pretty excited. Pretty excited, yeah.
I think I've gone from cautiously optimistic to genuinely excited.
But I think even more than the footage, I think it was what we heard from the showrunners.
Absolutely.
It's made me excited. I mean, it's just,
I think their passion and knowledge really showed through.
Yeah.
And it seems to me like this is really going to be in good hands.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think there are people, and that makes me feel very, very hopeful. And I think I'm more excited than I have been yet.
Hey guys, so I am back home here in the Nerd Cave, and I had planned on getting more people's reactions, but the pub that we kind of spent our last night at was pretty loud, so I didn't really get a chance to. However, in the weeks to come, I'd like to invite some of those people on, as well as, other friends of the channel, so we can talk through some of the things about the show and, our feelings on it. And I'm sure as trailers release down the road and everything, we'll obviously cover those as well. First off, the experience was obviously incredible. Being in London, traveling to Oxford, seeing all the Tolkien sites that I showed in the video was obviously a ton of fun. And honestly, the best part of the whole thing was spending it with, all these people who I've met online over the years and have been on streams with and podcasts and everything. It's just a great group of Tolkien content creators, and we just right off the bat, the first night, we just launched into conversation, and it was like a gathering of friends the entire time. It was an absolute blast. And the conversation was just as nerdy as you might expect it to be. 90% of it was entirely Tolkien related, so it was glorious to just talk nothing but Tolkien for like 3.5 straight days. This gathering, I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was truly something special, this group of people. And I'm really grateful for the experience, for sure. Now, there's no question that Amazon put the red carpet out for us here. This was an event made to impress, and it was an impressive event. That being said, I've already seen some comments and stuff from other folks who have posted because I overshoot when I film stuff. So I'm still editing this as I record. And I just wanted to dispel something here. I would not have gone on this trip if there was anything in the correspondence or any of the paperwork, anything that said we could not be honest about how we felt about the show or the footage we saw or the Q&A with the showrunners. So the idea that I would risk my credibility with my viewers for 4 days in London is absolutely ludicrous. I would much rather not go, stay at home. I'm actually kind of a homebody anyway, and not mess with it at all than to jeopardize, my honest opinions. My opinions are not for sale, and they never will be. So you can feel free to ignore any ridiculousness that might pop up in the comments. That being said, has what I saw in London changed my view on the show? To that, I would say yes and no. I say no because, as I've said countless times on this channel, I'm going to wait until I actually see the show before I make a final judgment. I would do that for any show or movie, so I don't know why this one would be any different. And I say yes because my trajectory on this show kind of went from excitement when it was first announced to cautiously optimistic to maybe just kind of cautious at its lowest low. And I'm back to being cautiously optimistic, and there's definitely some excitement creeping in there because what I saw and what I heard from the showrunners definitely gave me excitement that, this date is approaching. All will be known pretty soon. And honestly, it's hard not to be excited when you're talking to a showrunner who is as excited as these guys are for their show and for Tolkien. So I'll close with something that I think and I hope that the showrunners themselves would even agree with, and that is that, all the passion and all the knowledge in the world is worthless without execution. And I kind of get the sense that the showrunners, that, they just want people to give the show a chance, honestly. Personally, like I've said before, I'm willing to give them that chance because if they do it, then I get to be swept off to Middle Earth again. So here's hoping that they're successful, and that's what happens, and we're all impressed when September rolls around, and this will be a fun ride for years to come. In the meantime, we'll wait, we'll theorize, we'll make our predictions, and on September 2nd, we'll see. In addition to my regular videos on the lore of Middle Earth, I'll probably do some breakdowns and theories on the show along the way. So if you're interested, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.